Life on death row. This is going to be interesting right here. The 274 Florida male death row inmates, damn, that's a lot of prisoners on death row in that state, are housed at Union Correctional Institution in Rayford, which has a capacity of 1,400 inmates. Death row cells measure 6 by 9 with a height of 9.5 feet. Inmates awaiting execution after a governor signs a death warrant are housed in death watch cells, which measure 12 by 7 feet with a height of 8.5 feet. That is a lot of trivial freaking information right there that is pretty pointless. I don't really care how tall the cell is. You're telling me a lot of nothing is what you're telling me right there. Death row inmates are served 3 meals a day, 5 a.m., 10:30 to 11, and from 4 p.m. to 4:30. Meals are prepared by prison staff and delivered to the cells in insulated carts. Inmates use sporks to eat from a provided tray. Who wrote this story? Folks, breaking news. This one's gonna get you right here. Before execution, inmates can request a last meal. In Florida, they do this. I thought that this could be kind of taboo, like maybe some states don't do a last meal. And I feel like somebody in the comment section actually mentioned that. Maybe like Texas doesn't. I don't know. Before execution, inmates can request a last meal with a maximum budget of $40. Ain't gonna be no flaming yawn. Ain't gonna be no ribeye. But $40 for your last meal, that's crazy, sir. Unfortunately, we can't. It comes in just a little bit over budget. $40 for a last meal. This is what you do. The next time you go grocery shopping, if you live in the United States of America and you don't live in Florida, because groceries are actually relatively cheap down in Florida. Crazy to think. It's like a whole different world down there. State of Virginia, milk expensive, everything expensive. But the next time you go grocery shopping, play a little game. Get you a last meal in the grocery store, $40. See if you could do it. We're going to do it. I'm going to go to the grocery store. I got shit better to do. I got nothing better to do. I'm going to go to the grocery store and we're going to start doing some social experiments. $40 last meal. What are you whipping up? And I'm going to come up with some wild ass shit. We're going to bring back prison cooking here on After Prison Show. We're going to make prison meals here on After Prison Show, but they're going to be last meal type. So they could be anything. You're going into the grocery store for $40. What are you getting? I'm getting a bottle of syrup. I'm getting me some chicken tenders. Damn, man, you really can't show out for no $40. $40 don't do much. And the food must be purchased locally to prevent extravagance. Let me read that sentence one more time just to let it really sink in. Before execution, inmates can request a last meal with a maximum budget of $40, and the food must be purchased locally to prevent extravagance. They got a Sheetz right outside the prison because that's where you eating from, what you want. Death row inmates can have visitors, but they must be approved in advance. Inmates can receive mail daily, excluding holidays and weekends. They are allowed snacks, radios, and a 13-inch television in their cell, but they don't have cable television or air conditioning. Damn, you ain't got no AC down in Florida? Boy, hey, you want to talk about a torture. Damn, that's crazy. Inmates cannot gather in common areas, but can watch church services on closed circuit TV. Oh, you probably didn't see it. I did a video recently. I was asked to make a Scared Straight video. And, I think I'm actually going to start doing cameos. If you've got a troubled son or daughter out there and you'd like Joe to try to scare them straight, I've got a very unorthodox way of doing so. So I filmed a Scared Straight video recently, and it was made to look like I was butt-ball naked up in a shower. Now, this is definitely not going well already. It was for the right purpose, because while in prison, that's probably going to be one of your biggest fears, a butt-ball naked person in the shower with you, right? But anyways, I said, one of the scariest things about being in prison is sometimes you ain't got shit to do better but read a book. It's 2024, for God's sakes. Who the hell is reading a book? Especially to kids. Oh my God, man, kids got to read a book. I don't even think they do that shit in school no more. Like, I don't even know what goes on in public school anymore these days, but I got to imagine, man, there's not a whole lot of books. And if there are, that shit's probably getting phased out. Now, I know I'm being very, theatrical with saying that, but think about this, man. What if you're sitting in death row down in Florida and the only TV that you can watch, because they don't have cable and they don't have air conditioning, what if the only channel you can get is a religious channel? Man, let me tell you, reading a book is bad, but you ever been somewhere where all you had was the Bible? Now, I know there are a lot of people who take religious very seriously, and I'm not trying to make any jokes about that. But sometimes when you locked away in a place and you ain't got shit better to do but read a book, and the only book that you got is the Bible, man, look, we ain't talking about no John Grisham. Okay, we're not talking about no James Patterson, no Jackie Collins. Yo, the Bible, man, listen, I was going to say it's not a New York bestseller, but I think that it is. But now we're selling the Bible? Like, that can't be right. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make here is, man, they torturing the shit out of these prisoners down there on death row in Florida, and good for it. A guy like Wade Wilson, he deserves it. So what his life is going to be like now, he's going to sit in a little 6x9 cell with no AC. He's going to be able to have that TV and that radio. But can you imagine if all he could watch is religious services? Here's what's going to happen next. Here's the next shoe that's going to drop in the Wade Wilson saga. You ready for this? Wade's about to give his life to Christ, which, good for him if he does so. But how wild would that be if this man come back as a preacher man? He get reincarnated as, I don't know a preacher's name. Couldn't name one if you asked me. Joel Osteen. The motherfucker got Wade Wilson right now. That ain't Wade no more. Wade done turned into Joel Osteen. Oyster crackers. Whatever Yo. Hey, man, Wade about to give his life to Christ. Here we go. Dota says the Bible has crazy storytelling in it. It does. Okay, I'm not going to sit here. Look, man, if you put a kid in a cell, okay, put a 14, 15-year-old kid in a cell right now, and to be honest, that's kind of like what Wade Wilson is. Put a 14, 15-year-old kid in a cell for a week. Leave him up in there. I know this sounds like torture, but leave him up in there with a book. He got one book. That's the only thing that can keep him company. And that book be the Bible, though. Whoo! What you think he coming out like after a week? Is he coming out as a changed person? Or is he coming out like Tom Hanks in that movie Castaway? He gonna be talking in tongues. I'd be dropping some straight gems. Holler at me, Danny, what's going on with you? You still watching this loser? Not sure if you're talking about me or Wade Wilson, but I'm gonna hope that you're talking about Wade. We're just talking about it. But now we're talking about what his life is like on death row. Hey, we're getting closer to the end of this story with this guy, I imagine. While on death watch, inmates may have radios and televisions positioned outside their cell bars. They're allowed to shower every other day and are counted at least once an hour. Hold on. You're saying while on death watch. Is being on death row considered being on death watch? Or are we talking about when they're actually about to execute you? Because if that's the case, while on death watch, inmates may have radios and televisions positioned outside their cell bars. Oh, I would go crazy trying to watch the TV through the cell bars. But I've had to do it before, so. But sometimes you want to stick your face between the bars so you don't see the lines of the bars. They're allowed to shower every other day and are counted at least once an hour. My God, man, whoever's working that 12-hour shift back there, they don't never get a break. You got to count them once an hour, and there's 274 prisoners on death row. Death row inmates are handcuffed whenever they're outside their cells, except during their time in the cell, exercise yard, or shower. I wonder if they're on the dog kennel rec yard. Inmates remain in their cells except for medical appointments, exercise, social and legal visits, and media interviews. When a death warrant is signed, the inmate is placed on death watch status and is allowed a legal and social phone call. Damn, man. So when you get that death warrant signed, it's sounding like you get one last phone call. $40 is the budget for your last meal. Has to be bought from somewhere local, okay? Oh, you want what? You want two Big Mac combos from McDonald's? That's $40. That's $40. And then you get one last phone call. Can you imagine what that last Wade Wilson phone call is going to be like? Can you imagine 20 years from now, if that's how long it takes for him to be executed? People are still talking about this guy. I wonder where I'll be in 20 years. It's crazy to think about. Nikki says this channel is like hanging out with friends. That's why it matters. I appreciate that, Nikki. That was very kind of you to say. Death row inmates wear distinctive orange t-shirts while their pants are the same blue pants worn by regular inmates. Who would you call? It's like that old Locks rap song. If you had 24 hours to live, just think. What would you do? Where would you go? Who would you screw? And who would you want to notify? Or would your ass deny that your ass about to die? Wild, man. Wild. So that's, what's going on with Wade Wilson. He just got moved to death row. He's going to be having a time of it while he's there. It is going to be nothing like what his time was like in the jail.